So, with all that's been going on and the damage that has been caused by Ragebaiters has just exasperated the issues. So I've made this video to point out that some opportunistic rage-riding content creators seem to have too much power in swaying the public opinion. I'm not referring to just Rev here, but that being said, he is the one that has caused the most problems, and he appears to have used his platform in ways that have contributed to harassment and damage to Warhorse and Daniel's image. Yes, there are valid reasons for Warhorse and Daniel to be criticized, but there is a way to go about it, which I attempted to demonstrate in my last video. Making a Ragebait title on a video where you intend to defend them isn't a good move. It doesn't surprise me that Daniel didn't watch it because he is literally running a company of 250 people, and the last thing you want to do is watch a video you believe is spreading misinformation based on the title. And the man's busy. He doesn't have the time. So why was it Ragebait? I know there were a lot of people defending Rev and saying his title is fine. So I will clear this up and explain why it isn't. The phrase mass, with mass in caps to emphasize its impact, pre-order refunds, suggests a large-scale financial impact on the game. Rev even admits that he doesn't have the sales data for this game and has just made a baseless assumption on pure speculation from seeing people on Twitter or Steam forums say they are cancelling their pre-order. This claim inflates the reality of the situation and misleads viewers into believing the backlash is more severe, which unfortunately ends up with others following the crowd, because if it's that severe, the company probably deserves it. I also just want to clarify to Rev, if he ever watches this, and I'd be surprised if he does, your use of mass pre-order refunds implies a large-scale abandonment of the game, which is essentially what massive exodus conveys. Your wording suggests the same idea, and to argue against this is just a massive dodge of accountability for the consequences of your content. Within the same day of Daniel criticizing Rev, without even allowing an opportunity to resolve this issue via dialogue, Rev takes this opportunity to make another video, further exasperating drama and backlash onto Daniel and Warhorse by playing the victim. There are fair grounds to criticize the use of the word grifter in Daniel's post, but to literally make a video about it is either just downright childish or an opportunistic effort to rake in more profit from the situation. Coming from an adult male who argues against this sort of behavior is just blatant hypocrisy and suggests to me that Rev's ego is now so big that challenging or criticizing him in his eyes is an unforgivable offense that must be met with public retaliation rather than constructive dialogue. Instead of addressing the issue maturely or engaging in a meaningful exchange to clear up this misunderstanding, Rev appears more focused on amplifying the drama to benefit his narrative. This behavior not only contradicts the principles he claims to stand for, but also undermines his credibility as a critic, as it reveals a tendency to exploit controversy for personal gain rather than fostering productive conversations. To make matters worse for himself, after Daniel apologized and took accountability publicly, which is honestly one of the rarest things I've seen from anyone, Rev continues to have a tantrum. The man is still focusing on his hurt feelings at the end of this, perpetuating drama to maintain emotional engagement. This reaction undermines the sincerity of Daniel's apology and shifts the focus back onto Rev's perceived victimhood rather than resolving the situation. By refusing to let the matter rest and choosing to dwell on his grievances, Rev not only prolongs the drama, but also demonstrates a lack of maturity and emotional intelligence. This behavior ultimately highlights a pattern where Rev seems more invested in sustaining conflict for personal gain, be it attention, engagement, or validation, than fostering resolution or accountability in the community. All this occurred on the post Daniel Vavra made, putting forward a video composed by Mr. Hardcore Mode, who, by the way, seems to have his head on straight, calling out both him and Rev for their unnecessary behavior. Daniel states, "It's nice to hear a voice of reason and common sense. I hear you, man. Thank you." Showing he can accept well thought out criticism. In contrast, Rev continues to make it about himself and portraying himself as the one who is hard done by. What Rev doesn't seem to grasp is that Daniel is running a company that has spent the last 5 years pouring their passion and expertise into this game. To emphasize the scale of their effort, here's a comment from my last video. It is 250 devs, but thousands of Czech experts, historians, hemofighters, architects, and many more took part. They even discussed how the rivers could be different back in the day as they naturally change. Like they have an ornithologist tell them they put sounds of a bird not native to our lands in that time. They listened and changed it in the second game. Just look at how the devs in the interviews are excited and nervous. Let that sink in. Think about the immense stress Daniel Vavra must be under, leading such a massive project over 5 years and then having this backlash. Yet somehow Rev still manages to frame himself as the victim? Come on, dude.
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
Rev's last comment, I get that. I was really looking forward to playing your game, but after this, I don't know, man. I hope your game does well. That's my final thoughts. Comes across as victimizing and disingenuous because it subtly shifts the narrative to focus on his own disappointment rather than taking accountability. By implying that the situation has diminished his interest in the game, he frames himself as the wronged party, while the closing remark about hoping the game does well feels passive-aggressive rather than sincere, further undermining its genuineness. It's worth noting that Rev also uses a lowly avatar, which, unintentionally or not, may subconsciously reinforce his image as an innocent or vulnerable figure. This could make it easier for viewers to accept him as the victim in these situations, even when his actions tell a different story. Now, in my personal opinion, to be clear, I'm not saying that Rev is inherently bad. Just his situation, how he has gone about it, isn't consistent to his character, and it has caused unnecessary damage to the community of KCD and those around it. There are many things I can agree with Rev on from his previous videos, and I respect him as a creator. That being said, I do believe content creators engaging in this type of behavior is just damaging the community and further exasperating and pushing audiences into rioting with pitchforks in hand. This explains why developers are afraid of YouTubers like this. Some take advantage of the power their community has provided them and use it to generate more drama, which makes them more money. This behavior creates a toxic cycle where sensationalism and outrage are rewarded, encouraging creators to continue prioritizing drama over constructive discourse. It alienates developers who may become less willing to engage with their communities out of fear of backlash, and it fosters division within the audience, turning nuanced conversations into polarized debates. Ultimately, this damages the gaming community by shifting focus away from genuine issues and collaborative improvement, replacing it with performative outrage that benefits only the creators profiting from it. Now, I want to thank everyone who commented on my last video and brought this issue to my attention. It's your input that made this discussion possible. I also deeply appreciate those who took the time to watch this video in its entirety. Whether you agree with me or not, your engagement means a lot to me. I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on the broader implications of this issue and how creators, communities, and even viewers can contribute to fostering more constructive conversations in the gaming space. Do not follow the sheep mentality, people. Think for yourselves. And to my fellow Australians, I hope you're having a fantastic Australia Day. And to everyone else, I wish you all the best. Take care and see you in the next one. Adios.